Alright, this is a tutorial on how to set up a Google Hangout on Air. What this allows you to do is it allows you to set up meetings with students or with groups of folks and actually record that session. That session will then be posted to YouTube where you can reference it later. We are a little bit limited because we don't have an audience that we can call in, but I'll try to go through it the best I possibly can. The first thing that you'll want to do is go into your Omnibox or your browser and type in plus.google.com. This is possible for anyone who has a computer with a webcam. If you don't have a webcam, you are going to be limited by what you do. So go to Google or plus.google.com and hover down, go ahead and go to Hangouts. And I'm going to click on Hangouts On Air. Minimize this one here. And I'm going to create a Hangout on Air. So the difference between a Hangout and a Hangout on Air is that a Hangout is just a video conference. It's still very powerful, but what we're looking for is something that goes onto YouTube and is accessible for students for more time than just in real time. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to create a Hangout on Air. All right, and there. So I've created a title for it and a description. The title is more for students to be able to search. The description is to aid in that search. Now, the difference between now and later, other than the obvious, is if I click on now and I click share, this Hangout will start now. Now if it's something that I wanted to set up for 5 o'clock this evening, I could start it now and then start recording at 5, or I could just tell my students, hey, look for a message that I send you via School Loop or via Remind or however you're going to get that message out to them, but they don't have to, you don't have to set it up now. The other piece is setting up later. So if I wanted to start this at, say, 5 o'clock, and it's going to go for 45 minutes, I can do that. The problem with that is that you're bound by a time, both on start and finish. I like the now option just because it gives me that time with saying, hey class, I'm going to be here at 5 o'clock. Look for something in your email around 5. And I'm not bound by it saying, hey, I got caught up doing something else, wasn't able to do it at 5, it's now 5:10, we're now available. The other piece is the audience. Right now I've got circles because I have a Google Plus community. The circles are groups of friends, or groups of acquaintances, or groups of people I work with, or groups of tech folks that I know. If you have circles that you wanted to share this Hangout with, great. In this case, I'm just going to make it public. That way students can search for this whether they are in my circles or not. And I'll click on share. This is the setup for my Google Hangout on Air. So when I share out a page with my students, this is what they will see. They'll see the details down here, that it's a public event, and I'll get to the links here in a little while. I'll see the viewers that I have who have committed to, yes, I'm going to view this, although that's not a contract. The one big thing that we want to make sure of is that the Q&A feature is turned on. Right now I have the Q&A feature turned on. If it was not turned on, let me go ahead and turn it off. The Q&A button will not show up in the top here. So if I click on it, it will appear. Now the benefit of this is that even if you're not in the Hangout, if you're just watching it, you still have the question and answer feature. So I can be a student who is going to watch this Hangout and I can ask questions during the Hangout. Okay, so let's go ahead and start that. So I'm going to start the Hangout on Air. Now one thing about the Q&A is you cannot start it, you cannot add the question and answer feature after you've started the Hangout. So that's something that needs to be done prior to. So I'm going to click on start. So now it's 5 o'clock, I'm ready to start this tutorial session for my students in preparation for an exam. This is where I get to invite specific people. So by inviting specific people, they are being given access to the actual Hangout. So the difference is, if I were to invite anybody, and I'm not going to invite anybody because it's the middle of the day and I don't want to interrupt any classrooms. But if I were to invite people, they would show up down here. They would show up on the screen. That means that they have direct access to asking me questions in the Hangout itself. If I don't have that access, I can still ask questions via the Q&A feature. So one big question that you may have is, how do my students view this Hangout? Well, down on the bottom right here of my screen, I have links. This is the event page, and this is what is going to get students to the Q&A. This is what's going to get students to the video itself. So I'm going to highlight all of it, so just by double clicking, and I'm going to Command C on a Mac or Control C on a PC. I'm going to copy that. This is the link that I will email my students. So class, make sure that you go to this link to be able to see what it is that we're going to be talking about. But they're not going to see anything yet because you haven't given them anything to look at. When you're ready, go ahead and click on Start Broadcast. It'll give you this warning that you're going to go live. You can broadcast for up to 8 hours. Wow, that's a lot. So I can click on OK, and it will be going live. So now this Hangout On Air is live, and you can see down here that we can stop the broadcast at any time. Now, if I wanted to actually help my students, this is going to be the fun part, is you're going to have some background knowledge with Doceri. But once you have that knowledge with Doceri, you can actually screen share. So if I have a student who has asked a question, Mr. Stevens, I'm having trouble with number 4, and I've got the Q&A feature opened here so I can see any of the questions that come up. I have questions about number 4. Okay, that's fine. If I can do a screen share, I can share my entire screen and then using Doceri draw all over top of it. I can share a certain window. Maybe I'm just going to share this window with students. And so now let me try to multitask here. It is going to be difficult because we don't have an audience, but so as I'm going around, students see this here. This is the screen that students will see when I'm sharing that screen. And I can talk about congruence of planar geometry, test for congruence. So as you notice here, students are seeing me manipulate my screen. The same thing will happen if I'm on Doceri and actually annotating over top of the screen. So you don't have to worry about typing out sigma notation or integrals or fractions or any math notation. Or if you're in an English class, the same thing applies for marking up a document. Being able to proofread and edit that feature. Okay, so we have this side of it as the student. I'm a student and I see this component. If I refresh the screen, should be able to have a little bit of an update. Now notice that this changed. Now has a picture of me, which means that this is recording. This is a live example of what you would see. And things are going to get a little bit weird here, so let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen on the Hangout. And let's go ahead and try it out. So now I'm a student, and I want to be able to view this video that is playing live. Which means that this is recording. This is a live example of what you would see. Things are going to get a little bit weird here, so let me go ahead and... All right, so I just muted that video. It's still playing, but the students can actually go through and they can click through different portions of the activity. There are minor limitations. One of the major minor limitations is that you have a 30-second delay. So it is not in real time, but that's also nice because it gives you a chance to give students a chance to see what it is that they're having trouble with. Okay? So I can go into that Hangout, and okay. All right. There we go. So I've just added an item from a website. It's mathopenref.com. It was one that I quickly mentioned in here. So when you have students in the Hangout and they are, or not in the Hangout, but when they're on the event page that you share here, by sharing that out with them, they will be able to ask questions. And the questions that they ask will show up off to the side here. From there, you'll be able to address all of those questions through Doceri, through doing a screen share, however it is that you feel would be necessary and helpful to be able to set up. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click on Stop the Broadcast, and successfully terminated. Once you're done here, you're all done in the Hangout. When you're done in the Hangout, you'll close out of it, and this is your final product. You have the access for this at all times. This is a Google Hangout On Air, so now this is recorded. And if I were to refresh that screen, this is the video that students would be able to go in and see. So at any point in time now, and I'll delete this one, but at any point in time, I can go back and I can see this entire video. Notice here the showcase item that I displayed or that I dropped in is here, MathOpenRef, or MathOpenReference. Okay. I can actually go in and I can vote up. Yay! This part here I really didn't understand. Ooh. Okay. But I give kids a chance to be able to say, you know, this worked really well, this didn't work well. You know, can you go back, can you do this again? Whatever it might be. But this is a video tutorial on how to set up the Hangout. If you want something else, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help out.